Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today we have science fiction. We have Bob Vosseller. We have a legacy show. I now hand it over to him, and I'm looking forward to watching. Bob, greetings. How are you?
Doing good. It's been a busy time, and I'm looking for some fun because it's been a crazy week, as my guest can attest to, because I spent a lot of time with him, during that week, and we know what craziness is. So
Yeah.
now we're ready to have some fun and a little bit of horror.
We'll get spaced out and introduce the horror, and I'll be here if you need me.
My guest tonight is Chris Lundy, who is probably just as big a geek as I am, if not more so, but in kind of different ways.
Yeah.
He's also my boss at work, and he's always a
Fired Vosseller.
so. But it's always fun to have Chris and also my other boss Jason, who are it's great to work with geeks and then be part of having some fun with them at different things like collectible shows and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
let's go over, Chris, just your equally geeky resume of things. You're a
Ooh,
D&D player,
I
you're
am.
a comic book collector, but you're also, and of course, Transformers, which is all over the place, and now you are a uh, comic book creator and a book uh, publisher.
That's right.
So tell me about, first of all, some of your interests before we go dead in, so to speak, to your
Hmm.
your latest project and publication. Just tell me a little bit about how your geekness evolved, just like mine.
Ooh. Um, just because all the geeky stuff is all the cool stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
great.
honestly, early 80s, I'm keyed into all the cool cartoons on TV, all the superhero cartoons, and that's where I first started watching Transformers, and now I'm a huge collection. So now I want to show you the newest one I got. Are you ready for this, Bob?
I can't wait.
Look how big this guy
Oh,
is.
awesome. He is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, like okay, right now he's standing on my lap. I can rest my chin on him.
Oh my God.
This is Scorponok, and he's and be nice to my son.
Wow. Wow. I don't even want to ask how much you bought him for, but where'd you get him?
135. Not bad.
Oh, that's not bad. And
Not bad at all.
you know, your wife, much like mine, supports your hobbies.
Quite
But
literally supporting my hobbies in
yeah,
some ways.
exactly. And looks the other way and probably asks the inevitable question of where are you going to put that?
Well, you've seen my wife at conventions all the time, so you
Yeah,
know she's into her own geek things, and I feel like
that's great.
in our marriage it was like when she was growing up she was always playing video games, but it was like Activision where I was playing Atari, and she would be reading modern fantasy books but where I would be reading comic books. So there was a lot of other things that she was geeky with, but didn't really realize how geeky she was, I think, until we got together. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to play D&D. I'm gonna, and
Yeah,
all
that's
these
the
other
cool thing.
things.
You could share those interests then.
Yeah, and she's into some things that I'm like, that's cool, but like
Yeah, I get that too. I mean, back in the 90s and early 2000s, I did not share her interest in belly dancing. That was probably a good thing for the world.
yeah,
Uh, Although I did hang with her when she went to some of those things and was the belly dancer's husband, kind of
that's
a thing,
amazing.
and
That's
got me to
amazing.
wear a pink shirt at a Pennsylvania gathering where a bunch of motorcycle bikers came to the cafe that we were at during the break, and I
Oh
thought it
my
was going
God.
to die,
Oh
but
my
that's a
God.
whole other. Instead, she recruited them they all came around to her and talked to her about belly dancing, not the guys, but the biker chicks. So
Ah,
so I was spared, being humiliated and killed. So, but but
that's kind of like the Pee Wee Herman being in the biker bar in that in his movie. That's what I'm
yeah.
picturing. But yeah, so geeky stuff was always just it's all the cool stuff, it's all the fun stuff. And now I
Yeah.
get to make my own.
That is very cool, and that's something I always wanted to do. I always thought
Should.
that would be my life, writing comic books. I never realized, life would send me in the direction of writing Monday news.
Well,
Um,
as my daughter is now in college for writing, and she's going to Sarah Lawrence, which is all about nerdy fiction and creative people. I wonder if I what would have happened if I had gone that route, if I had become more of a creative writer and more of a starving artist down the line rather
yeah,
than. But honestly, and this is kind of like this, it's never too late to start kind of a thing. I have been writing fiction since high school, and I have to say the stuff I'm writing now I like so much more than the stuff I was writing back then. So in a way, I'm glad I never took the dive and went into publishing stuff back then because I might not like it now.
yeah,
The stuff I wrote back then might not be the stuff I would be, if I was at a convention and had my stuff for sale, I don't know that I would want something I wrote 25 years ago right there, taking up space.
yeah. That's a good point. Yeah,
So I feel like my tastes have evolved and matured over the decades. Um, the other thing about not about starting a little bit later is that I saw a lot of people burn out. People who had a taste of fame, very little taste when they were in their 20s, and when it didn't work out and they didn't become famous and rich, they turned their back on it.
mm,
And they got that little taste of fame and they couldn't live in that lifestyle. They couldn't take it to the next level, and now
mm.
they don't do anything creative, and that's a shame. So I guess the moral of the story is just, stay humble and keep writing. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think with us, we see so, we have kind of the best of the both worlds because we see the real life drama, and then we see the fictional stuff that we
Mhm.
love so much, and we almost
Uh,
see a little bit of both in both, from we deal with people who are actual real life characters that could be, you know and
you more than me. I tend to stay in my
yeah.
room. You're the one who goes right out and talks to everybody, and God bless you, Bob. I can't do that.
um
I need to close the blinds and just hide a little bit, or that this is why
I
most
was shy, but believe it or not, in my earlier days, but I think the
I can't believe
older
it.
I get, the more of like, what the F anymore.
Screw it. Yeah, that's true.
But so this project
Mm.
involves some horror.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me about that. I mean, we're heading almost into horror season, but
Into spooky
we'll get to
season.
that too.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Okay, so the my blur is off now, so I can actually hold up the book, although it's backwards, isn't it?
No, I'm seeing it, the book that haunts me, and I'm not
Oh,
seeing it
beautiful.
reversed now.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I hope
So
the
that's
I hope the rest of the public is seeing it that
me
way.
too. So that's the book. It's going to be on pre-order at Amazon soon. You can get it at Drive-Through Fiction also. Um, so I actually
Or
the
just
other
stop by the office at Lakers.
just up yeah. I got a bunch of them in my trunk. I carry them around. Um, the the good thing about it being a thin book is you can carry a lot. The I found the original file from this recently, and I'm kind of, for some reason, a stickler about when I come up with an idea, and I don't know why that is, but I dated it 2023. So I've only been working on this book for a couple of years. I was really
Wow.
surprised. Um, but it's kind of a short story collection in that there's five or so stories within a larger narrative. So I think some of the other short stories might have been a little bit older. The plot, if I can just pitch it,
Sure.
is about this boy. It's a middle grade horror story. So the ideal age is like 10 to 13, but I don't know. Most of the people who've read it have been older because they're all my friends and family. They say it still holds up. So he's this boy about that age is at a funeral of an uncle that he doesn't know very well, and he gets bored and he wanders off and starts wandering through the funeral home. And he comes across a person sitting in a chair facing where you would normally put a coffin. And he's not sure if the person is alive or dead, but the person has this old man has a journal, an open blank journal on his lap.
Hmm.
And just as the boy is starting to leave, the book falls and slides across the floor and hits him in the foot.
Ooh.
And then he's like, okay, I'm out. He goes back to his mom in the wake. Yeah, and he goes home. When he gets home, that book is there and is in his room. And it keeps kind of popping up more and more as he's going through his days. And he finds that sometimes his mind wanders. And then when he comes back to reality, there's a short story in the book that's been written.
Oh, cool.
So all of the short stories in there are written by him, and he doesn't know where they're coming from, and he's scared of these new thoughts and these new ideas. And the book is not only just a collection of stories and a conceit and how to get them all into one narrative, but it's also kind of about, and this is a term I'm not sure how well it's going to go over, but the healing power of horror,
Hmm.
because the boy uses horror to process his anxieties and his own fears. Some of them are a little bit more, like a creepy doll or a monster bug or something like that. But some of them are more of a normal thing that you would be afraid of, just amplified 1,000 times.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where the idea came from, but
Now, I believe there's a comic book component of this too, or is that unrelated? Because you
that's
were
unrelated. That's a different
okay.
book.
Okay. Well, tell us a little about that too, unless you have more about this.
Oh, we
Because
can go bouncing back and forth. That's fine.
yeah,
However you want to do
absolutely.
it. So this is called the Hero of the Day, and it's also a collection. There's four short stories in this by four different artists. I wrote the four stories, and each one of them is a standalone. There's a beginning, middle, and the end, even if maybe it ends on a cliffhanger. They this one took a lot longer. This one was probably 9 years in the making.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I think part of it is finding artists, recruiting them,
Yeah, there's struggles involved. Yeah.
digging up the money to pay them, and all this. This one, the comic book was twice as much, maybe three times as much to print than the other one. Actually, you know what is funny though? Same guy did both covers.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, I liked his stuff so
Oh,
much that that I
is he
hired him to
from
do the cover.
around our neck of the woods, or where's he from?
He lives in Egypt.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
once
told you
told
about
me that. That's fascinating also,
the
Egypt.
the first. Yeah, there was a Facebook page about I think it's called Connecting Writers and Artists, and I was just like, hey, I'm looking for someone to draw an 8-page comic, and this guy's stuff was amazing. And one thing I've been pleasantly surprised with is that every time I've ever asked somebody for art, I've always gotten more than I expected. just
Well, that's important too.
yeah, oh, that like they
Send it
throw in
along.
little nuances that I just don't expect. So like, let me see if I can do this one. In fact, I'm going to bring this up to the camera in a minute. But the first story is about this woman who is just feeling overwhelmed with everything. And it's like, she's got her own personal issues, and then the world is going to hell, and then the world is literally going to hell because this dimension opens up. Um, so I was just kind of giving the artist some very general ideas. And then in the thing, you could see he draws George Floyd on a poster.
Oh my.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, like, I didn't say for him to do that, and he did, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, his name is Aladdin Khaled. Actually, I never said
Excellent.
it out loud. I don't know if that's even how you pronounce it, but real nice guy, and he loves cats. So that's another thing we bonded over. Um, but yeah, and his stuff was so good that I decided like you have to draw the cover. And one thing that's really funny about this drawing is that when my mom saw it, she said, "Did you send a picture of you as a boy? Because that looks
Mm,
just like you."
yeah, I do see a
And
what I
I
do. Wow.
something only a mom would pick up on. So yeah, the comic book has it's called Hero of the Day because they're all roughly hero stories. The first one is basically um, just an average person who's dealing with a whole lot of stuff in their life, and then suddenly there's a DC level crisis on Infinite Earths kind of thing just unfolding in her city, and she's like, okay, now what? you know. Um, the second story, I don't want to tell you too much about that because it's kind of a surprise how it ends, but it's told from the point of view of an art thief. Third one is a take on the Hulk,
Hmm.
and the fourth one is just pure comedy. Um, this one is, I don't know how this is going to go over, but it's a superhero duo called Thoughts and Prayers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, when things are going wrong, send thoughts and prayers. Bad timing to have this today. I'm just
Yeah. But interesting nonetheless.
yeah, no, the right person will laugh their ass off at that,
Yeah.
but it probably won't make me very many friends. And I don't know where the story ideas come from. But yeah, so one artist is from Egypt, one is from Indonesia, one is from Spain, I think,
Wow.
and the letterer is from California.
Wow. It's almost like an international.
It is. It's like an Avengers.
Wow.
Um, so I mailed out copies to everybody, and that was so expensive
Mhm.
because he's sending things
Oh yeah,
internationally.
yeah.
I probably spent $100 just to mail these things to internationally.
Wow.
And this is kind of silly, but when you send something to Indonesia, there's a rule that it can't be written in Indonesian.
It can't be.
It can't be.
Wow, you'd think it would be the other way around.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Almost
They've
like copyright in the language, like
yeah, they have a monopoly on the Indonesian
yeah.
language. I mean, fine. I'm not whatever, but yeah, the guy at the post office was like, "Huh, I don't know if we can send it." Oh wait, it's not in Indonesian. We're good.
That's that's crazy, but very interesting.
I'm learning a lot.
Now, was this your first comic book venture? I thought you did something before.
I did. Would it be inappropriate if I went up and got a copy of it real quick?
No, no,
All
no.
right. You'll see me going through my comic book boxes.
Chris's special vault. Everybody should have their own, every creator should have their own version of a man cave.
Yeah, it's going to be taking too long to dig out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a,
But
well,
tell us about that, and obviously that had its challenges too, especially at that time.
it was called Dave the Potato. And it was a mini comic that we photocopied at print shops. And it was me writing and my friend drawing. And it was just a spoof on superheroes, obviously. Dave could swing on a vine like a web, and um, his archenemy was Dr. Cornelius Cobb, who had like these he had these like the husk part of the when you peel back the husk, it was up and back like Mr. Sinister's cloak in the X-Men.
Oh,
And
did you have the proportional strength of a potato, or yeah?
I decided that his superpowers would be whatever the story needed it to be, because that was just, it wasn't about that.
It had no yeah,
Yeah,
strong structure there. Yeah.
no one's sitting there wondering like, oh, could Dave the Potato beat up Captain Carrot? And like, no one's no one's doing that. But that was fun. If I look back on those dates, it's like 1999, 2000, 2001. We
Wow.
were selling that at the Pittsburgh Comic Con back in the day, and a couple of local shows. That was a lot of fun. We made no money whatsoever. Not at
Well,
all.
remember the gentleman that I met over at Super Jersey Comic Con this past spring, Pencil Man, who was promoting his creation, selling his creation, wearing the costume of his creation.
That's one up from me. Oh no,
Um,
wait. Actually, I did have a Cornelius Cobb costume at one point. Never mind.
wow,
I
wow,
still have it somewhere. I should dig that out. All right, Bob. Next time I'm on your show, I'll
yes.
prepare. I'll get Dave the Potato, and I'll squeeze into that costume.
And just to make it equally crazy, I will have to dig up in the attic the costume that one year my Star Trek group, when we were crazy enough to do the polar bear plunges years ago,
Ooh,
we had a member who did different themes every year. The first year we did it was Trek Rock, which combined Star Trek with the Flintstones, and I even have the Poobah hat. Then we did the Musketeers, but
oh,
in between, I believe we did silly superheroes, and I was Captain Corn Fusion, and have yellow and green, and with a yellow, he just would go to dollar stores, pick up stuff, and just create stuff and make these costumes. It was fantastic. We
I love
couldn't
it.
we couldn't tell him no, so we was like, okay, we're jumping in cold water again this year and having to raise money for it. So I was Captain Corden Fusion. We had Soup Man. I don't know. I forgot what he was. He was just in a pink tutu as Tutu Man or something like that.
Oh,
Um, and I still have that costume.
well,
And
yeah.
because why would I get rid of it, or any of those costumes for that matter?
It's got
Um,
emotional value to it.
yeah, exactly. So yes. Oh, I did wear Captain Corn Fusion once to a collectible show in, I don't know if it was Willingboro or it was
Wow.
someplace south at a flea market, and I actually won $100 gift for an appraisal of my stuff, which I
Okay.
never, which I probably still have somewhere, because I was never going to, like, I'm not mailing them any of my stuff to appraise.
Yeah.
It'll never
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
I
It's
was too
weird.
afraid. So thanks for the prize,
Plus,
but
you never get rid of anything.
plus, yeah, exactly. Like even my wife laughed at that. It's like, yeah, like you're really gonna sell anything. Um, so
Yeah. If I pan the camera around in this basement,
uh, yeah,
there's a lot of
we
stuff
can't,
in here.
we got an emotional attachment to everything. So
Yeah, I can't get rid of this stuff. It's my stuff. You know how long I collected this stuff?
exactly. So what was your favorite, were you more of a DC Comics guy or a Marvel Comics guy, or like me, amalgamation of both and
I
just
went
like,
back and forth.
yeah.
Like when I was real young, um, like prior pre high school is DC all the way. Like the Super Friends cartoon was my indoctrination into that, and then of course the Superman movies were fantastic. Even the bad ones were fantastic to me. The bad ones being like three or four, which aren't
Yeah,
really
Free
bad, but they're
Free
not great.
was a Richard Pryor movie with Superman in it.
Yeah. And four was I thought four was great when I was a kid, but it's not good cinema. But it's fun.
Yeah,
Um,
it is fun. Four was fun.
yeah, I just like superheroes beating up on each other and throwing them each other through buildings. That's cool. And so that, I loved the Atom and Aquaman, like the ones who no one it was they were nobody's favorites. It's always the ones who loved
Oh, I
those
was
guys.
always a big Aquaman fan. I remember,
Good.
well, I'm much older than you, but I remember the Aquaman cartoon before I read Aquaman comics. And when I
Oh.
started reading Aquaman, comics and adventure comics first, before, I didn't realize he had his own comic and then lost his own comic and it went back to adventure comics. But, I was like, where's his black boots? Like he doesn't have black, but like because the cartoon was
Yeah.
modified and stuff like that. And
I heard they're doing another movie. I don't know
uh,
if that's
of
100% accurate. Aquaman movie.
well, I hope so. But not with. I mean, Jason Momoa has moved on to become Lobo
Right.
in this new universe. I would like to see him look more like he did originally. I would like to see him in his orange. I mean,
Yeah.
he did have that outfit with the Jason, but I would like to see him kind of more beach guy kind of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was a not great casting. The fun movie was fine, but it was yeah. Even Jason Momoa said
well,
I thought I was gonna be Lobo.
the second Aquaman was on just the other day, and I was catching. I watched it, of course, and I even have a copy of it, but I really hadn't watched it over again, and the way they had Ocean Master, and he's blonde, and all I can think is he is a better Aquaman than Aquaman. Like looking that way, just put him in the costume. Why didn't they cast him? I mean, in my next life, I want to be a casting director because, we had this conversation just the other day of seeing somebody that I saw at Star Trek. It's like, yeah, that should be Mr. Mixie Pitalik in the next Superman movie. He would be great.
Well,
Uh,
I think unfortunately you're stuck with you need a big name to bring them out, and so I mean Jason Momoa was a big enough name to put
Well,
butts in the
yeah, and
seat.
plus he had experience being in Atlantis
Yeah.
with or Stargate Atlantis. He was, um,
Stargate, that was a good movie. But go back to your original question. Then I went to Marvel a lot in the 90s, especially when I started discovering X-Men. I was like, oh my God, these are really great. And then the comics are just almost impossible to read. But
yeah, that's how I always found X-Men. That's the one area where everybody was X-Men, X-Men, and there was like 100 titles. There was like every X you could thing, and
and no stories ever end.
I almost felt intimidated of going into that portion of the Marvel universe because I didn't know enough about it. When I remembered the X-Men was before they had their revival, because of course I'm a big Captain America fan, and I remember when Marvel Girl, Cyclops, and the Beast, and maybe the Angel, they guest starred in a few of the 1970s
Mm.
comic books, which I think had Moonstone and as the villain, the original
Ooh.
Moonstone, the male Moonstone, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's the X-Men.
Okay.
Okay, and then they brought in the whole new version, and it was like everything caught fire, and like everything was X-Men.
I
So
had the misfortune of starting to collect comics in the 90s, which was just worst time to start reading, really. There was just a glut of books
Yes,
on the
there was
market.
the variant cover
Ugh,
started back
it
then, and
was
the
just
foil and the gold and all this stuff, and it was like,
so you can when I was printing my comic, you could they had like prices for that if you wanted to do all the like the gatefold
yeah,
covers and all that
yeah,
stuff.
and you had your stories connected to every single other comic book there,
Yeah, you couldn't. There was no completion of the story. It was just it
Yeah,
it was a mess.
as long as you bought the other one, and I don't think either of us were aware at the time that Marvel Comics was in the midst of being like in bankruptcy.
Yeah,
Even though they seemed like they were cranking out comics, like toilet paper. I mean, it was just an abundance. You would go into any comic book store, and Marvel would be all plastered all over the place. It was like, oh yeah, and DC's over here. And if you were independent, you didn't even get a spot on the rack.
no, no,
There was
no.
no area for Dynamite or, you
Mm.
know, some of the ones that we see now. But
D- did you ever read Astro City?
Astro City, I think I did catch an issue or so.
Those are really good, and it's kind of a combination of everybody in it. It's an indie book,
Yeah,
but it's there'll be someone named Samaritan who's definitely Superman, but it's
yeah,
or
yeah,
Winged Victory who's definitely Wonder Woman, or the First Family who's definitely the Fantastic Four, but they all live in this one continuity, and it's
yeah,
the writer's way of telling all of these stories without messing with official continuity, and it's every issue is very strong and um, very thought out, very well thought out, very good writing on it. It's good stuff. That I would recommend that.
when I was first starting collecting comics, well, one, it was a budgetary thing because I was doing both at the same time, Marvel and DC.
Oof.
Little by little, Marvel inched its way in because it was like, oh, well, I like Spider-Man because I watched the cartoon, and oh, it's Captain America, of course I have to have that. And then there was like, oh, Marvel Triple Action is reprints of the Avengers, and I like Captain America, so of course I have to have that. And then it was the actual Avengers, and then Marvel Team Up and
Mm,
all the other was. And little by little, oh, Iron Man, I like him too, and of course the Hulk. And my first Hulk issue, I think, was the one with introducing Wolverine. So you know that was. I wish I still had that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Sometimes reading the team books are great because it scratches the itch for everything that you
yeah.
want. Like that way you don't have to worry about collecting
Oh, and
every individual
Fantastic
title.
Four. And when I
Well,
was
that's it.
reading Fantastic Four, thinking, oh, it'll be just like the comic book, but it looks so different with the cover because Human Torch's costume was now red and he didn't wear gloves, but he had the little yellow cuffs. And
Oh,
Sue Storm left, Sue Richards rather had was knocking wing boots with or winged ankles with Submariner because Reed Richards accidentally I don't know, did something to Franklin, which I
yeah,
didn't even know. Like, oh, Franklin, they have a kid. I didn't know that.
yeah.
And Medusa took over because Sue is pissed at Mr. Fantastic.
Wow.
So, yeah, that
Huh.
was an interesting issue to start reading Fantastic Four with.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Then
I
it
can
was sort
see.
of reading all the back issues and all that stuff, and then you getting into all that whole back collection and
Honestly, those remember those essential books that are like big black and white reprints? Those are great.
yeah,
But yeah, the old FF still hold up. They are really good. I
yeah.
enjoy the hell out of them. Not all the old 60s stuff is good, but that's strong.
Yeah, the 70s, and I was big fan on Steve Englehart's Captain America. And it really, whatever Steve Englehart wrote, like that's when I started like, oh, I'm going to pay attention to actually who's writing and who's drawing. And like loving Sal Buscema, if I'm pronouncing his name right.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And then when Captain America switched over to well, first to Jack Kirby, or was Frank Robbins first? I forgot who, but Jack Kirby was like, what a big deal. And thinking really? The
Hmm.
writing's now terrible. I wasn't
Mm.
too impressed. And then Frank Robbins, that his style just didn't appeal to me. He's great on retro stuff. If you remember him and Chuck Kane. How do I pronounce his name? Is the guy that always does all the old stuff like the Shadow and
Okay.
from like
Yes.
always like period pieces of the past, and his style seems to work so well for that.
Yeah, I
But
think I know what you're talking about.
Frank Robbins was like that as well. He did, like, I didn't mind him on the Invaders. I just didn't want him on actual Captain America, even though Captain America was in the Invaders. But
Hmm. Yeah, I get that.
so
There's some writers that I feel they get it, and they make you feel like it's still like the retro, older classic stuff while still being modern. And I think Mark Waid is one of those
yeah,
that he can write stuff that is just I don't even know if he's writing stuff nowadays, but he gets the character. He's not going
yeah.
in there and changing anything. He just is saying, "Hey, this is the best part of the character. We're doing this, and it feels right." He's one of those good ones. I like his a lot.
Was it Marshall Rogers
Hmm.
as an artist? There was a run on Detective Comics. I don't know if you were collecting comics at that time, but
Hmm.
he made Batman and Robin look like they did during the 40s. I mean, the art style was to
Oh,
emulate
that's fun.
that style, but bring it into the modern world. And yet it was definitely, had like a retro look to it at the same time. And I
I uh, I at one point I was told my friend, I'm like, I think I'm gonna start collecting Batman. And he's like, don't. I do. Just don't, because it's just there's so many. It's just like, I'm like, all
Well,
right.
that was, yeah, once the movie came out, it was Batman, 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 like
Uh-huh.
Batman was all over the place. And
And you know what? Like, honestly, I think Batman's the worst part of Batman comics. Like, if you read a Batman comic, Gotham is great. Whatever villain is great. Batman himself is not as interesting as the villains usually.
yeah, because you really never get into other aspects of him because he's always Batman,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, he doesn't have like this other aspect of him. He's rarely Bruce Wayne and
Yeah. It's not as I that's why I like Justice League best because you get him playing the Batman. He's the brains of the operation and just is you get enough Batman for it
yeah,
because he needs something to play off of for me.
yeah.
And it's fun watching him banter with Clark or something. It's those are great.
Well, I used to like Batman more when I read, because I always read Brave and the Bold, which was his team up book. And even though I was not always a fan of Jim Apro's
Okay.
artwork, sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't. You always knew that he was doing it, from the style, if he was doing work for some other title. But
Hmm.
I always liked, him the team ups with different characters, and it seemed like Batman was more interesting when he played off of characters. Some of whom he didn't always like.
Most
Um,
of them probably.
yeah, you know, but when
um.
Phantom Stranger and
Ooh. There's a if there was one comic book that I would want to write, it would be Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, bringing that cartoon that I grew up with into the modern day and having it be a Spider-Man team-up book where every issue would be Spidey and at least one other person, and I would love that. That would be so much
yeah,
fun.
I would. That's one that I would love to do as well, and do it up, obviously a little more serious, but at the same time, it had the framework of, Peter Parker, being at the campus. Was he a student too at that time? But
I
he,
feel like it. I don't remember though. I
he was
think I think they
Iceman
were
and
because they're all in
Firestar.
college. Yeah, I think the three of
Yeah,
them were in college together or something. I don't remember.
and definitely, ironically, that would have been, you know, Johnny Storm. It was kind of good that Human Torch's rights weren't available for that
Mhm.
cartoon, just as much as they couldn't get it for one of the Fantastic Four cartoons. And so that's how Firestar was created, because she wasn't in the comics until the cartoon.
Ah, that makes sense.
So they had Fire and Ice, you know, not to be confused with Fire and Ice of DC fame, but
Right.
you know,
Well, hey, good characters come from these shows, like Harley Quinn.
yeah,
I mean, God, that character took off. Who knew? Who
yeah,
knew that that would become like this icon?
yeah, because I mean they tried a character called Harley Quinn. Um, remember way back teen
Hmm.
when they brought Teen Titans back, George Perez and Marv
Oh,
Wolfman,
Wolfman.
Wolfman, and they had the Joker's daughter, who was actually
Uh,
Dula Dent. She was actually Two Face's daughter. And so she dresses up as his other archenemy, the Joker.
hmm.
But eventually, when as the course of the comic book goes on, Dula Dent decides to abandon her character, her I don't know if she was truly a villain or what, as the Joker's daughter. But I guess they figured calling her the Joker's daughter was just not going to work if she was going to continue to be, she was going to be part of the Titans. So they made her Harley Quinn, but
I did not know
nothing
that.
like that Harley Quinn, just like the different Batgirls were, from the 60s into the later 60s when we saw the new Batgirl in the 60s TV show. So speaking of cats, they're
Yep.
in the Catwoman.
Yeah. Though this is Mako. Whenever I'm talking, he feels left out. So it's kind of like your pups. He's gonna.
Yeah.
I was holding him throughout the work meeting today too. I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah,
I
he
couldn't
always
even
has to
find you
perform.
during the work meeting today. I was like scrolling through, and there were so many people at that one. I was like, I spotted Jason. He was on the
Yeah,
second page. You must have been on, like, I don't know how many other pages there were, or where you were
I
sandwiched in.
for the first half hour, my camera wasn't working, so I'm really glad I got it
Oh,
going by now.
oh, oh.
But yeah, this is Mako's a good boy. He's very adorable.
Uh,
He's very affectionate. He was found when he was like this big, so we've had him ever since, and he's just always a cuddler.
mm. Well, I like when they do work in some pets or animals into certain comics. Like, I was very happy to see in the Superman movie that we finally got Crypto this time around, and I think he added something. Oh man, we're running. What's our time here?
950.
Wow, we have been. Well, then we got to go straight to quickly promoting the horror show in
Yes.
Tom's River coming
Yes.
up, Tom's River, New Jersey on, give us
October 25th, is it? Um the Saturday right before Halloween. Right now it's going to be kind of a small affair where it's just going, yeah, it's the 25th, from noon to 6. What I'm doing is in the Tom's River Artist um gallery downtown, having a free movie night, a free movie day rather. It's the 25th anniversary of Jaws, so we're going to be showing Jaws. I have a short film from a local writer. I'm going to screen that, I believe. And I want to kind of collect a couple of other things. So we're going to see. The original idea for the horror show was going to have a lot of vendors selling horror stuff, but I don't know that that's going to be the final solution to that. Um, as you know, that's a very busy day, and there's
Yes.
a lot of other vendors going other places. So I might actually wind up pushing the horror vendor part of it to another day in 2026. But
Woo,
I think we're still going to do the horror movies marathon because it's fun and it's
that
free.
will be fun.
I got a nice big screen to hang up and a big projector, so we're gonna go have some fun. I'll probably just be selling candy for a fundraiser for the Tom's River Education Foundation, where we collect money for after-school programs and stuff like that.
Cool.
Like we paid for uniforms for the girls softball team at one of the schools at one point. Um, I also do the Tom's River Book Show, and we were going to collect that money so the kids' literary magazines could be printed instead of just being online only.
Ah,
So,
well, I know Hercules is going to tell us to give our contact information. Start with how people can purchase your book and comic book.
okay. So right now you can go on to Drive Through Fiction. It's through like THRU, Drive Through Fiction, and look up my name, Chris Lundy. I've got that book and a whole lot, oh, by Mako, a whole lot of Dungeons and Dragons materials and some other fiction online there. And if you go to I'm pretty active on Blue Sky, that's new social media. So if you want to go to that, I'm on there. I think it's Chris Lundy Writes is my name, I think, and I'll be pitching where I'm going to be appearing. I've got a couple of shows coming up soon, one at the Island Heights Artists Guild and Manalapan Library, I think, are both in October. So those are
All
my
right,
next ones coming up.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, busy.
And your horror show, is there, does that have a website or anything? Or
Yeah, there is a website. I believe it is just tomsriverhorrorshow.com, or it might be tomsriverhorrorshow.wordpress.com. And then, of course, it has a Facebook page, and the book show also has a Facebook page.
all right. Well, I'm looking forward to checking this out too.
Yeah,
And um, I appreciate your coming and talking about your publications and
thank you. Thank you
your
for having me.
interests, our mutual interests, and some that are just a little different. So this was fun, and thank you, Hercules, for letting us um,
Bye.
join you once again. And we have an actual Transformer guest star.
That is awesome, and I enjoyed your show very much. And I too have tons of boxes and been collecting stuff forever, and plenty
It's
of
fun.
stories to share over the things that you covered. I'm also a published author too.
Oh, cool.
I feel for your journey, and I wish you success with it.
You too.
If Bob can send me a picture of you or anything you'd like me to have as the picture for the show,
Okay.
if you get it to me by tomorrow morning, by tomorrow early afternoon, the show will be up on YouTube.
Okay. Cool. I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Bob, how can people get in contact with you? Because you're a celebrity as well.
That's Bob Vosseller.
You can check me out at www.usschallenger.org, and Facebook USS Challenger, and of course my email, which even though it's AOL is still usable, beamaboard@aol.com, and USSChallengerCO@gmail.com. Of course, I have to open that account up again because I forgot the password. So anybody sending that to me lately, I've not gone to visit.
Like I said, he's better at science fiction than science.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the tech guy. So
You need Scotty to be
yes, I
the.
need my own Scotty.
Well, thank you again very much. And in case we don't communicate before Halloween, happy Halloween.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Yes, I hope to have a guest next month that will be in that genre.
Mm.
So more horror coming your way for Spaced Out. Um, I won't mention who because I don't know if I can get him in time. So hopefully that will all come together. But if not, I will dig up somebody.
I do not,
Literally?
I do
Maybe
not doubt
literally.
that at all. Good night, gentlemen, and thanks to everybody who tuned in. Until next time, joyous journeys and amazing adventures. Good night.
Good night.